Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode of Hassan Talks podcast. On this episode, as we are actually still continuing the series that's Sudanese creators, معانا الليلة creator مختلف مميز, very different, and I don't know exactly where to put them in which category. يعني art, معارف journalism, معارف social media stuff. It's very difficult to put them in one place. طبعا معانا سارة الحسن, well known as BSONBLAST ولا بسون ولا whatever you want to call it. We're gonna get into that nickname in a while. سارة طبعا حاليا مقيمة في أمريكا, معروفة بالشغل الرايتنج اللي بتعمله بالبلوجز وشغلها أونلاين. She's very active in very serious topics, وأوقات كثيرة جديد في very not serious topics.
في تفاهات شديدة.
Yeah, but you do it quite well, so that's why you are here on the podcast. So yeah, welcome.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. يعني Hassan Talks is like honestly the كده the standard so far in terms of consistency, in terms of variety of like guests and topics. I'm a little intimidated right now. I will not lie to you, but I'm happy to be here.
واو اوكي, انا ما اعرف, انا كنت عايز اقول العكس, انه انا ايام intimidated by your presence here, انه اساسا you accepted my invitation, انه بتابعك من زمان يا سارة, لكن you like my show. This is like,
I do, absolutely. And listen, as a person who also like dabbles in podcasting, I'm not going to call myself a podcaster because I have not earned that title, but as a person who dabbles in podcasting, and you get seeing another Sudanese podcaster doing it and being consistent and like, mashallah, I have nothing but respect and appreciation for your platform.
I would never thought I would hear this صراحة from you, but this is I'm happy to hear that. طب أنا طبعا في حاجة كتير عايز أتكلم معك الليلة فيها سارة, لكن
جدا.
أول حاجة خلي أنا طبعا because I missed the note اللي هي what is BSONBLAST, ولا هي بسون, ولا هي شنو دي؟
طيب, he is definitely not بسون, it is BSONBLAST. لكن الناس I thought it was really straightforward when I came up with the screen name.
Not to me, sorry.
It was the Twitter username, and I came up with it because there's a lot of BS in life, and I like to put it on blast. I like to talk about it, and so I thought, what better way to like do that than through that screen name. But when I went over to Instagram, and I feel like on Twitter, I was on Twitter for a lot longer than Instagram, and so my friends or like the people who follow me on Twitter knew what I was about. لكن لما قمت حولت مشيت Instagram, people didn't really get it. And so it became BSONBLAST, Basoon, Busaina, like people were just trying to make sense of it, but it is BSONBLAST. اسم بسون ده اسم الفن.
الاسم الحركي. اوكي. طيب, نايس. انا طبعا اسيادوب صراحه استوعبت BSONBLAST اللي هي bullshit on blast يعني. بس انا سبحان الله طبعا شفتها في الدنيا دي غريبه, كيف اول مره شفتك فيها او اول مره يعني سمعت بك was I don't know years ago من الفيديو بتاعك that was on YouTube لما when you responded to a professor who called about السودانيات شينات, and that was like the first time I've seen you. بعدين I don't know, you've disappeared or I don't know.
No, I
stopped
disappeared.
searching about such topics.
I disappeared.
Okay.
I fully disappeared. Yeah. That was an interesting experience, that video, and like borderline traumatic, and so that's why I disappeared. I'm not usually, to be honest with you, I'm not I don't consider myself the most visible person. Like, I don't like to be in the foreground. And that video was my first experience with الحاجة دي. And especially في الوسط السوداني, that was my first time. And the reaction made me like, oh, if I wasn't the the front person. I definitely am now. Like I don't want to have anything to do with being in the foreground. Yeah, and it was a really interesting experience.
That was long time ago طبعا.
It was, yes.
You have come a long way.
I have. I healed.
Yeah.
I healed. Yeah. Yeah, that was a long time ago though.
That
So
was طيب أنا ما أعرف إذا الفيديو ذاك له علاقة بسارة اللي إحنا بنعرفها هسه دي، لكن I gotta say this يعني openly. أنت ليه دائما زعلانة؟ Why are you always upset? Why?
Listen, to quote comedian, actress, activist Amanda Seales, I'm not angry, I'm passionate.
Okay.
I don't consider it anger. Yes, I do rant a lot وبدق جرس كتير شديد، لكن ما من yes من حتة زعل but also من حتة يعني I feel like المواضيع اللي أنا بدق جرس فيها مواضيع that deserve the attention, that deserve the time, and that deserve the anger. And yes, it has labeled me as زول زعلانة. But I welcome the label, to be honest. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm not going to deny it.
Nice.
I just think that there's a lot of things, like especially كزول سوداني وكبيت سودانية في حياة كثيرة بتزعل في حياتنا، في مجتمعنا، في سياساتنا. You know what I mean? And in the world. So like it's hard not to speak about things with anger and passion.
ما بتحس إن الموضوع ده مرهق شويتين؟ إنك أنت دائما there's so many things that makes you so passionate that you want to express yourself. يعني المواضيع الاجتماعية، مشاكل النسوان في السودان أو البنات بشكل عام، وبعدين مشاكل المجتمع السوداني والمواضيع السياسية وما عارف بانديميك، وبعدين أنت ما بس سودانية، أنت كمان أمريكان. combination is very tough to deal with.
combination ضارب جدا. لكن no, I mean it can be exhausting. I'm not gonna lie. It is exhausting to see so many things that make you upset and so many things that you want to change. I won't lie. I mean, it is overwhelming. لكن أنا بالنسبة لي الكلام في المواضيع دي is like is a release to some extent. يعني بدل ما أنا حكون بفكر في الحياة دي، فبدل ما أقعد أفكر فيها وأقلبها في راسي وأتمغص برأيي، يعني
مغسين احنا ذاتنا بلاش
مغصكم معاي ليلة.
صح.
But I don't think it's يعني if I may يعني I don't think it's مغصة. I don't think it's like sharing the misery as much as it is trying to make sense of it and trying to find a solution to it. بعدين بالذات في يعني في مشاكلنا نحن كسودانيين، في حياة كثيرة نحن نتكلم فيها، بالذات الإيشوز الاجتماعية، الإيشوز الثقافية، العادات والتقاليد, like all of these things that I find myself talking about a lot. I think it's important to talk about them بأي شكل من الأشكال، سواء كان like هزار، كلام زعل زي كلامي ده whatever. like
أسلوبك authentic شديد، أو أسلوبك فيه نوع من السركازم، بس في نفس الوقت يعني super realistic، يعني ما في أي تلميع، ما في دسدسة، ما في غطغيط. بتخشي في الموضوع طوالي كده.
A lot of people don't like that because نحن متعودين إنه مثلا يعني عاداتنا وحاجاتنا دي، مفاهيمنا دي خط أحمر ما فينا نتكلم فيها. And so when you like address them head on بتبقى مشكلة، الناس بتحسسوا بيزعلوا. But I think it's important لأنه ما في شيء حيتغير لو ما تكلمنا فيه. بعدين يعني I feel like all of our feelings are valid. كلام الخوايات داك بتاع all of our feelings are valid. I think however it comes out, as long as you engage in the discussion, I think that's the يعني ما أعرف، أنا بالنسبة لي that makes me feel better. Saying it out loud makes me feel better.
For me it makes me feel better إنه في شخص بيعبر عن الحكاية دي بالطريقة دي، ولا لو في بعدين زول كلامي والله سارة قالت كده ما عندي شغلة
جمانة أنا باخذ وش القباحة ما في مشكلة.
Yeah, we're sorry on behalf of all your followers. Yeah, I gotta say this.
No, I mean I agree. I think it's important to talk about things يعني in the way that you perceive them, because إحنا عندنا ثقافة like I said بتاعت تلميع زي ما أنت قلت وإنه لا ما نقول وكده يعني مثلا زي الفيديو اللي أنت تكلمت عنه ده like in that video I didn't like that was my first realization that people don't like being told the truth يعني they don't like being faced with الحاجة الشينة right
confrontation
no pun intended but like people were really mad not at what I said but the way I said it
صح.
يعني إنه بالذات إنه الراجل ده راجل كبير قدر أبوكي وبتاع وإنتي بيت ما مفروض تتكلمي كده وإنتي بيت صغيرة which I wasn't but people really thought that I was a child talking about these things and addressing this man in that way and so they were very unhappy about it and it wasn't like I said it wasn't like they agreed with him بس كيف تقولي كده
publicly ما دي مشكله طبعا. انا بحاول قدر ما اقدر ما اخش في المشاكل بتاعت المجتمع السوداني الكثيره دي because we're never gonna end يعني بس it's very important to express ourselves of course يعني البلاتفورم او الطريقه او الاسلوب دي people are different into this يعني بس في النهايه things have to be expressed one way or another. الحاجه اللي انا that I'm always concerned about انه هل في اي change حصل قبل وبعد الريفولوشن من ناحيه التعبير عن المشاكل مش المشاكل ذاتها. Have you noticed any change?
To be honest with you, I have. I think people are a lot more يعني الثورة أدت الناس courage إنهم يتكلموا عن الحاجة. Whereas زمان إحنا كل خايفين ولا بنتكلم in the privacy of our own شلة صالون whatever. Now I think people are much more willing to talk about things publicly and to like take a stand publicly, whether that means on the internet or في الشارع or whatever, in a way that they weren't before. And subhanallah that you asked me this question because this morning I watched a press conference عن a group that's making the effort to start creating cultural policy في البلد, right? And الكلام اللي اتقال في مؤتمر صحفي, right? حاجة public, حاجة على نطاق واسع, حاجة تظهر في التلفزيون وفي النت, was really bold and critical at times and pointing the finger at other times and just being very blunt with it. And that's something that we've never seen. دي ما بتحصل زمان. ما في زول بينتقد الحكومة زمان, ما في زول بينتقد أي حاجة on a public way زمان. عشان كده عشان كده أي زول كان بيتكلم had a target on their back. Like the few that were being vocal had a target on their back, and the rest were afraid to do so. But now there's like this, I won't call it أريحية, I won't call it like comfort and willingness, لكن الناس الشجاعة بدأت تشجع شوية. في شجاعة إنه الناس تواجه الحياة وتتكلم فيها كلام plain and direct.
طبعا الحكاية دي كانت طبعا بشكل عام ما ضروري المواضيع السياسية, حتى المواضيع الاجتماعية فالناس they have the courage to talk about it. طبعا أنت you're referring to the conference that was about أهمية الثقافة في وضع البلد. طبعا I've seen your story and I've seen the summary. أنا ما شفت الفيديو كامل والله. أنا شفتي I've seen your story, I click on the link بعدين 1 hour قلت
I know.
رجعت لقيتك actually you've summarized it. this is one of the things that you do, إنه بتعمل بريدج كده للحاجات الكونكشن بين السودان والعالم البر. لكن خلينا نرجع للكونفرنس ده, انت رايك فيه شنو بالكلام الكثير اللي تتكلموا فيه الجماعه دي؟
والله الكلام اللي اتقال يعني I was saying this to somebody right before I hopped on this meeting with you. I for a long time have felt quite hopeless about الوضع في البلد, about a lot of things, but I've kept it to myself because I always say it's really annoying when people قاعدين برا just criticize and say الثورة ماتت, الثورة فشلت, whatever, because of what they're seeing or their perceived idea of الوضع now and their expectations also of where Sudan should be right now post-revolution. And so I try to keep those negative comments to myself because it's not helpful. And also it's inaccurate. There are lots of people who are doing the work and you just might not see them, and maybe not on the governmental level, but there are a lot of organizations and regular folks who are like busting their humps trying to make a difference. And so, yeah, but like just internally, I felt kind of hopeless and powerless. And بالذات إنه يعني on the social front, الفترة بتاعت الثورة دي كان فيها زيادة وعي, I will say, not like complete وعي or complete change of character or like مفاهيم, but like there was a beginning, like an awakening there that made us all feel like anything was possible. And now, how many years are we post? 2 or 3 years post-revolution?
Almost, yeah.
It feels like, yeah, زي ما قالوا in the press conference, في تراجع. It feels like في تراجع. في, you know, this like free fall back into our old ways. And just seeing that addressed in a press conference was يعني such a motivating force and such a like يعني جرعة بتاعت أمل that I have not felt in a very long time. إنه الناس بتتكلم عن أهمية الثقافة and how it impacts us, all of our lives in a direct way, and how creating policy around that, or you know, making a change in that respect, building up that sector of our government, of our lives, is crucial to our development. All of that just made me feel like I wasn't alone. This, I forget his name, but the man who was speaking at this press conference said that نحن عايشين في دولة بلا رأس لأنه ما في تفكير. And that blew my mind because he summarized, I think, everything that I've been feeling in terms of my hopelessness in إنه
في جملة واحدة
عقليتنا ما ماشية لقدام, in one sentence. And just the fact that there are people who recognize that and address it directly and are working to change that, that gave me so much hope.
ده ستيب نمبر 1 اساسا, انه تعترف انه في مشكله وتعبر عنها بطريقه كويسه, لانه في مشكله يا جماعه, ما احنا عملنا ريفولوشن دان ذاتس ات, ولا الحكايه بوليتيكال, برضه حكايه اكبر من كده, فيها كميه الكومبلكسيتي الموجوده في الحكايه دي معقده شديد. لكن عن موضوع الكونفرنس وعن الوضع بتاعنا احنا, القضيه دائما بتتقال السودانيين برا, السودانيين جوا, نظرتنا احنا وتوقعاتنا للثوره, والله خلاص الحكومه تغيرت, اذا ندي الجماعه دي 3-4 سنين ومفروض خلاص يعني يكون عندنا نظام حكم ديمقراطي زي البلد الثانيه يعني, يعني يلا بسرعه. لكن that's not how things يعني go down, especially in السودان بعد 30 سنه من البهدله والمشاكل
الدمار الشامل,
الدمار من كل الاسبكتس بكل معاني الكلمات طبعا. فاكيد الثقافه تاثرت, اكيد الجورناليزم اللي هو مجالك تاثر.
اكيد. Well, I don't know if it's journalism مجالي, but yes it أثرت.
مجالك شو طيب؟
I don't know.
I want an answer. That's one of the
goals
of this
when you said creator, my anxiety spiked because I was like, I don't know if I am that. I'm definitely not a journalist. I'm not a trained journalist or anything. I don't know. I'm a writer. I'm a social commentator. I don't even know what I am anymore. صراحة.
انت سارة كده بس.
أنا حاجة. I'm floating. أنا لسه ما حددت مكاني لسه.
But that's the state of so many Sudanese people في النهاية. على فكرة الموضوع إنه إحنا كل الحاجات دي في شخص كده ملمومة في زول واحد. أسألي على موضوع الايدنتيتي وما الايدنتيتي, السؤال التقليدي المكرر, بتحب السودان ولا أمريكا؟
الله.
أحلى هنا ولا هناك؟
أحلى هنا هناك, الجو حلوين هنا ولا هناك؟ Yeah, I don't. I think now as an adult, I feel more of a connection to Sudan than I do to this country, and there's a lot of reasons why, but I'll say the most basic one is that أنا تربيت هنا في أمريكا, لكن أو جزء من حياتي هنا في أمريكا, لكن تربيت بالطريقة السودانية. And my parents did a really great job of instilling those values. And like at times it was a a little rough, you know,
Yeah.
when they say انت كان روحك أمريكية انت ما أمريكية دي ما بلدك, like that was kind of like the narrative my whole life. And I think partially why I don't feel a connection to this country, because I've been told for so long that like دي ما بلدي, you know. But then going to Sudan as an adult also makes me realize like a lot of people don't consider إنه Sudan بلدي. Like a lot of people هناك saw me as an outsider, saw me as a foreigner, saw me as too diluted, يعني in terms of my culture and my identity. فما أعرف, I think I lived the struggle of a lot of third culture kids where we just don't know where we belong, and we don't really belong fully anywhere. So at this point, I don't even consider where is home. I consider who is home.
Okay.
As cliche and cheesy as that sounds, but like it's just, I think to me it's more about the community that I've created for myself rather than where I live.
Yeah, عندك choice يعني تحس الموضوع بقى you can pick.
Exactly.
Sometimes هنا.
I
لكن
don't have
choices
to be,
the choices you have are actually not that nice to be honest. بالذات في آخر 4 سنين يعني أنت عندك كان ترامب جاي وما عارف يا أخي.
America is a dumpster fire. And it's really sad that a lot of people didn't know that the last 4 years have introduced people to the dumpster fire that America actually is. And so in that sense, I'm grateful to Trump لأنه كشفهم يعني فضحهم basically. But للناس اللي عايشة في أمريكا حياتها كلها ومعظم حياتها, like we all know that. We all knew the reality of what it is to live in this country. يعني in terms of not fitting in terms of not being accepted, being discriminated against and oppressed, like all these things نحن عارفينها من زمان. And so that's what makes it even harder to feel a sense of belonging here, but also it makes it harder to talk to people in Sudan about it, because بالنسبة لهم انت قاعدة في أمريكا ما يعني there's no way إنه حياتك تكون صعبة ولا هنا, like what are you talking about?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? أمريكا دي جنة. thanks Trump. Thanks for showing them what it's really like.
لا of course ده السؤال. كلنا أنا تربيت في الخليج, مولود تربية الخليج, فايتس the same problem برضو, أحسن هنا ولا هناك. فأنت طبعا of course you don't belong here and you don't belong there either. يعني أنا بتذكر من القصص اللي حصلت لي زمان صغير, واحدة من الإجازات التعيسة رجعنا فيها للسودان, مشينا حديقة المقرن الصاحب, والله نسيت اسمه, أعتقد وقعت فيها الساقية ديك.
أي منتزه المقرن,
أعتقد المقرن هاي. المهم كان ما أعرف صلاة مغرب ولا عشاء, صلينا في جامع مسجد صغير كده بتاع المصلى بتاع الحديقة. أنا عندي كان جزمة مبسوط, كانت عارف الجزمة بتشتروها لما يكون ماشي السودان تقشر بيها, هي واحدة بس هاي. فمشيت لابسها, جت وقت الصلاة. أنا أساسا خايف الإجازة دي كلها, أنا الجزمة دي أهم حاجة عندي. خطيت الجزمة برا, بعد شوي دخلت, جيت قبل ما أصلي قلت يا أخي الجزمة دي برا, وضع ما بطمن كده. دخلتها جوا, خطيتها جوا الجامع ورا الباب. أنا عمري 8-9 سنين أعتقد. يعني بيحكوا لي جزء من القصة, أنا بس فاكر الجزء لحد قبل ما أبكي. بعد ما بكيت ما بتذكر حصل شيء. خلصت الصلاة لقيت ليك الجزمة ما فيش. طبعا يا هو بكى ونبذ البلد بتاعتكم دي ورجعوني السعودية وما فضيحة. كم ياخذ ود سكتوا ادوا شاي ولا ادوا حاجة زي ما قلنا يمكن يسكت. فالديليما دي يعني تراوما ما ديليما.
it is trauma. لكن at the same time بحس إنه في ناس كتار يعني there is one thing that is in common for all of us is الكيزان برضو خلوا إنه يكون في ناس كتار في حزة في حتة sense of belonging دي, إنهم الناس مهزوزين. البلد دي ما شايلانا, البلد دي ما بتعتني بينا, ما شايفانا. and so people just their whole lives they want to leave. منهم صغار يعني teenagers are talking about like when they're just gonna get out of this country. So even then like people اتربوا في السودان, عاشوا حياتهم كلها في السودان, they don't feel a sense of belonging to the country either because of الوضع اللي كانوا عايشين and are continuing to يعيشوا. So I don't know, I mean that doesn't really give me comfort, but it is a weird shared thing between all of us.
Yeah, it's a very bad weird shared thing صراحة.
Yeah, yes.
طب خلينا نتكلم عن happy thoughts, happy ideas.
Happy thoughts.
I think the happiest thing that's been going on in your life right now, إنه of course from our perspective viewers أو الناس اللي بيتابعوك، ألا وهو برنامج عراس عراس بتقديم الأستاذ القديرة المخضرمة سارة الحسن. دار تعمل شنو يا حسن؟
ما بتقديم سارة الحسن، بتقديم بسون لو سمحت. سارة الحسن is not involved in عراس عراس.
الاسم الحركة هتستعمليه في الموضوع.
Fully a bassoon production. She's a completely different person.
What is she trying to do?
She is trying to help people find love. And she's trying to be as professional as possible in doing so, and to present
professional as possible. انت قصدك بالحاجات اللي كنت لابساها هذيك اليوم هذاك؟
الصورة الجميلة للمذيعة السودانية. المهنة. She's trying to bring شرف to المهنة، مهنة المذيعة. That's her goal.
بديتي انت طبعا في يوم الفالنتاين اللي هو في الموسم يعني.
Yes, it's really weird. I mean, this wasn't really a thing that I had ever planned. So I'm surprised we're talking about it.
هو موضوع spontaneous بتاعته دي أساساً. I think that's the beauty of it maybe.
Yeah, it was very spontaneous. The thing that I guess what I'm most thankful for recently, or الحاجة that's been helping me cope recently, is the Friday lives that we do, where we ignore everything that's happening in the world and كل البلاوي والمشاكل والمآسي, and we just spend a couple of hours a week shooting the breeze and talking about things that don't matter, and just laughing and having a good time. And I think like that's the thing that I didn't expect so many people would enjoy, because I was just doing it because I really had reached a point where I was incredibly overwhelmed and in a deep pit of despair, and I needed something to get me out of it. And so it was kind of like this really manic thing that turned into a weekly tradition on the page now. And out of it, Aras Aras was born. And that was really just, people also just being like, نحن يعني زهقانين وفاقدين حنان وبتاع شنو. And so like, let's do it. And I did it as a joke, but some people took it seriously and asked for it again. So so now it's, our second episode.
No, it's a nice thing. I'm waiting for الحلقة الجاية. I'm not waiting for a bride يعني per se. I'm waiting for the episode.
داير يكون واضح، وضح لنا مين هسي.
لا ما داير مشاكل.
عروس ولا ما نلقى لك عروس يا أحمد.
لا I'm good. And get me a next guest on the podcast. That would be better. I will join you إن شاء الله. الحلقة 50 من العراس عراس يكون كده السوق فضة. أنت عليك كيف؟
No rush.
Yeah. I don't want to rush into this. بس في something you said. Of course we're gonna go back to موضوع اللايفز اللي بتسويها. لأن الناس فاقدة حنان دي بتذكرني بستوري باك في السودان في الجريف. واحد من أولاد عمي إن شاء الله ما يكون بيسمع البودكاست ده. أمه سابت البيت، مشت نامت مع في بيت أهلها لكم يوم. هو يعني شافع لسه عمره 5 سنين، كان زعلان من الحكاية دي شديد. أمه اسمها زينب، فكان مرق في الشارع قاعد يبكي، وهو بيبكي كده جات واحدة من النسوان الحلة، مالك يا ولدي بتبكي يا حليلك؟ قال لها أمي ما فيش يا حليلك فاقد حنان. قال لها أمي اسمها زينب. has to correct it. فما فاقد حنان، في ناس فاقدين زينب، في ناس فاقدين أسامي مختلفة. بس انت عارفة موضوع اللايفز اللي بتسويها، المواضيع في مواضيع هادفة وفي مواضيع غير هادفة، في مواضيع في رسالة منها، يعني بتعمل انت حاجات سوبر سيريس لما الحملات بتاعت ختان البنات والسوشيال بروبلمز اللي بس النسوان بيواجهوها في السودان بالذات في اسبوع المرأة بيكون فرصة انه زول يتكلم عنها. ف these things are important. بس الناس ما بتعرف انه كمية الحاجات احنا بنشوفها في حياتنا صعبة. It drains us out. يعني we get super tired, super exhausted. So it's okay to have some fun. It's okay to do some يعني حاجات كده، أي كلام فاضي ساي كده.
No, it's not just okay, it's essential. So that you don't like burn out. It's
Yeah.
essential صراحة. أنا المشكلة اللي واجهتني إنه بالذات بعد الثورة يعني الناس أنا before the revolution I I can't say that I was ever considered a voice في الأسافير. I think the revolution is what introduced a lot of people to me, and يعني they came for a purpose, right? They came to like see the coverage. And so after the revolution, I think the bulk of whoever follows me came for that purpose. And so they expected this was what the page is about.
Yep.
Page is about أخبار, current events, summing up الحاصل في السودان, analysis, ما بعرف شنو. And the page is my personal page. Like it's not a, it wasn't
القناة الفضائية بيفتحوه وقت الساعة 9 ويفتحوا.
And it was never meant to be that. I never intended for it to be a public page. يعني أي نعم it's public مفتوحة لكن it's my personal stuff. When I started doing these weekly lives of just nothing, like بلا هدف, and ضحك وعوارس هاي, a lot of people were very upset and disappointed.
الانفلونسر سارة الحسن تهرب من مسؤوليات تجاه بلادها.
أنا والله كنت يعني محترمك وقايلك أحسن من كده ولقيتك فارغة ساي وبتاع. وين الكلام عن الثورة وين الكلام عن people just saw me as this one-dimensional person who just talked about serious things, and I wasn't allowed to be anything else, which I thought was fascinating, again considering the fact that my page is not was never branded as that or intended to be that. It makes me sad because الناس بتحرم نفسها I think من مهم الزول يفرق على روحه، مهم شديد يعني، وما عشان الزول يفرق على روحه وعلى الناس معناتها هو زول فارغ ولا كده، لكن احنا برضو عندنا المفهوم ده يعني
بنحب الليبلينج،
الضحك بلا سبب
بنعشق الليبلينج انه خاص الزول ده سيريس اذا هو سيريس.
ايوه بنعشق الليبلينج، وعندنا الضحك بلا سبب قلة أدب. I remember hearing that as a child. طوال أمي كانت بتقول الجملة لما تلقاني مثلا بضحك ولا حاجة تكون ضحكتني قبل وهسه لسه بضحك فيها، تقول لي الضحك بلا سبب قلة أدب. And I never understood that. I just feel like, are we not allowed to feel joy? Does it have to be a reason why I feel joyful? Otherwise it's قلة أدب عديل. That's crazy to me. And so I think people's reactions to me not always being serious and speaking about serious issues is that الضحك بلا سبب قلة أدب.
اوكي اللايفز كسرت الحاجز ده يعني you're bringing back that this is my page, I can do whatever. So موضوعات وغيرها I think that was well done صراحة يعني. Thanks. The best way possible يعني.
I had to because I was gonna go insane if I didn't. It's too many things happening in the world for us to be serious all the time. It's just a lot. It's too much.
It's very overwhelming. بس احنا كمان في pandemic ما عايزة تخلص. وانتوا ما شاء الله في أمريكا ما شاء الله يعني أمريكا has been the worst country to deal with this kind of stuff.
يعني
ما ممكن يا جماعة. You're proving that every single time.
ما شغالين بالحيفا بالذات الحتة الولاية اللي أنا عايش فيها دي. At the height of the pandemic, we had the most number of cases. It was المرض كان متفشي بطريقة بعيدة يعني. And ما في زول شغال بالحيفا. We're a Republican state, or we were up until recently. So, people were really talking about, I'm not going to wear a mask because it's my constitutional right to infect everyone else. It was a mess. Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess.
It's a joke. Crazy joke صراحة. ما قادر. I cannot really understand this. بس I don't know what you're going to do with this. طبعا أنا عارف يا سارة إنه المواضيع دي can be sometimes annoying. Maybe you don't want to hear that question. بس what's up with you hating kids? Why do you hate kids?
Oh God, you're right. I do hate that question. For the record, I don't hate kids. I just don't fit the stereotype of a woman who loves children. I think إحنا بالذات كسودانيين عندنا إنه البنت من صغيرة تكون شايلة her dolls هناك، لما تكبر بتشيل أخوانها الصغار أولاد أهلها، لما تكبر تاني شوية تبقى young lady يعني young woman طوالي يا سلام بتلعب بالأطفال وبتحب الأطفال. And I just was never that. Maybe it's because I'm the youngest in my family. I don't know what it is. لكن I've never had this connection, this love for children نهائيا. I wouldn't call it hate, that's a strong word. لكن بس ما بعرف أتعامل مع الأطفال. I think ما بعرف أتعامل مع الأطفال. A fact that I'm learning now.
Okay.
I have to be around.
بس انت يعني you have to keep in mind ان الاطفال as stupid as they may seem they're very smart. يعني هم زي الكلاب مع احترام يعني للكلاب. انه الكلاب لما يحس انك انت خايفه منه they approach you, they annoy you even more, they try to bark and stuff.
Oh, I'm learning that from living with my brother's kids. Yes. The more annoyed you are, the more they want to be around you.
Basically, that's how it goes.
Yeah. It's a struggle. It's a struggle. Listen, I don't think everybody's meant to be, I don't know. I don't want to get too deep about it, but like I
يتكلم عن فكرة الستيريوتايب انه البيت بطبعها يعني الأمومة وما عارف شنو المواضيع دي.
يعني
this is not really forced. المفروض حيكون natural up to her.
Exactly. المفروض حتكون natural تيجي naturally. يعني الناس لما مثلا يشوفوني بتكلم كده يقولوا أكيد كعبة شديد with her. Like, I love my nieces. I love the kids that I'm related to. It does not mean that I want to be around kids all the time or that I want to have my own. Like, there's a difference. I can love those children without necessarily wanting some for myself. And I think that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I had to ask the question لأنه انه يعني it's very easy to judge a person لما واحد يقول والله it's يعني they're annoying, they do this. لما تشوف الستوري يا اخي اسكت but of course they get that idea, but that's not necessarily يعني what we perceive. طبعا دي مشكلة أكبر اللي هي السوشيال ميديا. أنا لما أمسك الموبايل بتاعي أصور 15 ثانية من حياتي and then people use this 15 seconds to repeat it all over again and build this persona around you. But then you try to defend yourself in a way maybe or explain things over and over. طبعا الناس مستحيل you cannot يعني ترضيهم لو سمحت. أنا ما كده.
لا أنا ما بحاول. I lean into it. I realize that people want to, I mean, they make the assumption and they want to believe the assumption. They don't want to know the truth. So أنا قدر ما أشرح because it's easier. قدر ما أشرح قدر ما حاكم. يعني أنا ممكن عادي أقول إخواننا يعني أنا ظروفي كده أنا قاعدة في حتة فلانية. You know, these children, I'm raising them, right? I'm not just babysitting. I don't just like come by. Like they're my responsibility. And the تربية حاد, I could talk about all those things, but nobody wants to hear that. People are just going to be like, لا كعبة بتكره الأطفال. So I lean into it. Sure, why not? Because I know at the end of the day, my nieces are safe, they're loved, they're well taken care of. So why do I need to explain or show that reality to people who couldn't care less and are also complete strangers who I don't care about either? You know what I mean? Like,
you don't have to go that way. But ده الانترنت ده عالم السوشيال ميديا. You know, and you are into that. I mean, you're in that mess. It's very difficult to get out of it, you know. You have to continue.
But it's also, I think it's also a question of, do you consider yourself a part of that mess or not? I don't consider myself a part of that mess.
So Sarra Elhassan is not an influencer?
Absolutely not. No. Never. Nope. I'm not. I say that. I used to say this all the time. I'm a person. I'm just a person who likes to talk about stuff. And that's what I'd be doing. I'd be talking. That's it. Yeah. And so, you know, if you want to consider that influencing, if you don't, whatever, like what your perception is has nothing to do with me, because I'm literally, I'm like any other Instagram user who's on their phone posting whatever they want to post, sharing their pictures, sharing their life or not. I don't attribute that to anything else. I don't consider like what I'm doing بهدف unless I'm talking about a subject. If I'm talking about myself, بلا هدف. I'm not doing it عشان أوصل لك معلومة معينة. I'm just doing it because it's fun and because everybody else is doing it too. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't consider myself an influencer. I hate the term, and I don't know where along the line I became that to people. I have no idea.
أنا أعتقد إن الموضوع له علاقة بالnumbers بالأرقام. You know how many followers you have, how many people react and respond and engage with you, then that puts you as an influencer. بس that's not. طبعا بعدين الترم بتاع الانفلونسرز ده جا من وين وهم منو دير influencers ودارين شنو ما بزول عارف طبعا حد يصل.
لكن في ناس يعني أنا مثلا أحترم الزول اللي بيقول أنا I'm on this app to be an influencer. ما خلاص في زماننا ده influencer is a job. It's a thing. It's a profession. People do this for a living. So I think if you consider yourself that, there's nothing wrong with that because you know what you're doing. You know what you're using your account for. But I think people assume that anybody who's on any app like Instagram, مثلا, who has whatever arbitrary number is considered, that's the influential number, that they're on there for that purpose. And they've gained those followers on purpose and to become the influencer. And that's not the case for everybody. That's not how it is for everybody.
Definitely not for you. That's what you stated. ده ما الكيس خالص يعني.
Absolutely not. لا.
بس انت عارفه سارة، احنا في النهايه في المجتمع السوداني بتاعنا او السودانيين بيستعملوا السوشيال ميديا they consider you as an important figure يعني من ناحيه whatever you talk about، حتى if you're just يعني making fun ولا you just يعني BSing on blast as usual. we like that, we admire that, and we need somebody to talk about this kind of stuff in a way, and you are doing that. So for me, I admire you for that. فلو في ليبل ما هيكون كويس اللي هو الانفلونسر ما انت ما عاجبك ما اشوف لك ليبل ثاني ولا يهمك.
ما تشوفوا لي ليبل نهائي بس قولوا سارة يا اخوان.
سارة
عادي يعني سارة عادي بس ما إلا الليبل ده ما
هو الليبل makes it easy to judge people and you know that انك تحط زول في category معين and then whatever applies to that category applies to this person. خلاص الموضوع انتهى.
It gives people a sense of comfort that you can put a person in a neat little box and you don't got to worry about.
It works.
I get it.
Well, it works that way. هسه سارة ما دام انت active online بتحسي نفسك خلاص مرتاحة في انستغرام أكتر من أي ابلكيشن تاني؟ تويتر مثلا، أنت بدأتي في تويتر زي ما قلتي؟
أنا بدأت في تويتر.
أو كلوب هاوس مثلا كنيو ثينج.
Clubhouse scares me بصراحة. I don't know how to use it. Clubhouse scares me. I think I definitely used to be يعني most comfortable on Twitter لأنه كان like platform أنا متعودة عليه. Like I knew what I was there, I knew what I was there for, and I had like created a nice little bubble for myself there. But now I think Twitter and Instagram are probably on the same level to me in terms of like just being comfortable doing whatever because
Clubhouse no.
Clubhouse أنا جديدة على Clubhouse لسه وبعدين ما عارفة. It's a new realm that I'm not quite used to yet, and I don't know how to navigate it, and that makes me nervous. And also I just feel like it puts you on the spot because when you're speaking, it's just you speaking, but there's all these other little icons sitting there on mute.
Looking at you like
and I feel like they're all staring at you and silently judging you. So that makes me nervous. It's not like Twitter where like I can just tweet and go, or Instagram where I'm talking to myself and I post and go, and if I open my DMs, okay, fine. If I don't, I don't have. There's something about the Clubhouse setup that just makes it feel like you're in an auditorium speaking to a billion people.
It is exactly like that. إنه في stage وفي audience وفي ناس بيصير معه speaker وفي moderator.
بالضبط.
Exactly like that.
It's too intimidating.
Well, it's weird, you know, you say that. لأنه ده أنا again back to the perception إحنا عندنا عنك يا سارة. إنه سارة she loves to talk and she knows how to talk. For Clubhouse is the perfect place for her, you know, to address topics, to discuss issues. But then you coming saying you get nervous. You're just a human being as the rest of us, mashallah.
I have severe social anxiety, and that's like a fact. It's not. I'm not trying to be cute when I say that. Like that's a fact. And so even like I said, Twitter is easy because you're just typing something and you're letting it go, and Instagram is you're talking to yourself essentially. It's not that bad. It makes me nervous, but it doesn't make me as nervous as like standing in front of an audience, masalan, or you know that like or being in a crowd of people. It's a lot of people don't believe it. Like just the other day, I was talking on Instagram about how I have social anxiety, and so I had so many DMs of people being like, بالله عليك الله بطل الكذب هنا ما بعرف, which is wild to me that you can تغالط زول في روحه.
أنت معي أنت كويس أنا شايفه.
But like yeah, I just think that again this is part of the الغشة بتاعت social media, إنك بتوريك صورة معينة يعني أنت ما عارف بورا حاصل شنو. يعني أي نعم أنا بيجي بطلع لايف كل جمعة وكذا, لكن الناس اللي بيعرفوني they can tell that I'm nervous. They can tell that like بتراجف and I'm uncomfortable and like they can tell all of those things. So you know it. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with this, but I'm not what I appear to be. I'm not what I appear to be.
Yeah. أنا بالنسبة لي I like one thing about Clubhouse. It makes me feel like I'm in Sudan. صراحة الفكرة بتاعت الناس بتتكلم يعني طبعا الرومز بتختلف لحد هسه الناس still they're learning or they're just like using it day by day وكل يوم بيكتشفوا حاجة. فالرومز بتحسني كأني في السودان فتحت باب حوش كده يعني السلام عليكم بتلاقي الناس فجأة بيتكلموا الدولار بقى بكم ولا الاقتصاد ما عارف بشنو. ممكن انت تمشي تشقهم كده النص تمشي المطبخ تجي راجع تلاقيهم بيتكلموا في حاجة تانية والله الممثلة دي كمان بعمل شنو. It feels exactly like that. Sometimes they're fighting. Sometimes يا جماعة كل زول يتكلم براحته يا جماعة ما عارف. يا أخي I miss that. I miss home يا أخي so much.
Yeah, I mean now that you put it that way, that's a really good point. It definitely I've been in rooms in Clubhouse that have felt very, very Sudanese, more Sudanese than I've ever than I've felt being in conversations in the last 4 years since I moved. But yeah, in that sense, it is kind of it's nostalgic a little bit and like يعني ظريف إحساس ظريف يعني. لكن في نفس الوقت برضو because it's so Sudanese في حاجات بتحصل where you're like oh I didn't miss this at all. Yeah, okay.
That's why I'm away from home for a reason. I enjoy it to be honest يعني myself. بس what I find weird إنه لما يجي زول خاشي room لثواني ويطلع يعني مثلا سارة خشت البضوع سارة مرقت
دي أنا أنا بنط من أوضة لأوضة. Yeah, it's again it's also the anxiety of like when you come into a room and like people see you coming in بالذات لو ما في ناس كتار like they can see you coming in. فالحقيقة دي أنا بتعمل لي بحس بهنا شديد like too on the spot. Clubhouse I still gotta get used to it.
طلعوها فوق خليها تتكلم. I've done this a lot of times. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
To you and to other people I'm sorry in general يا جماعة.
makes me super anxious. بعدين الزول بيكون ما عارف الحاصل شنو يعني لسه أنا ما فهمت أنتوا بتتكلموا في شنو والناس طوال بيقول لك مثلا come up to the stage like no I don't even know what you're talking about. بعدين في ناس كتار في Clubhouse بيطلعوا ستيج طوالي بعد ذاك لما يفتح المايك بيقول لك والله يا اخي انا ما عارف كنتوا تتكلموا في شنو صراحه ممكن زول يشرح لي like why are you on the stage طيب اقعد تحت افهم الحاصل شنو بعدين ارفع يدك.
I just want to participate. نعم اي نوع من العشوائيه لازم اشارك.
حب المشاركه ده حب هنا حاجه سودانيه بحته. حب المشاركه
يا سلام يا اخي عاداتنا وتقاليدنا ما شاء الله يعني سواء كانت في الحوش ولا في new applications we just carry them around. أمريكا أريزونا إسبان is the same.
محل ما تمشي.
نعم الحمد لله. And it's a big thing. It's being Sudanese is not easy. والله people تعرف الجاليات الثانية they have this perception, you know, you're nice, you're kind, you can always trust the Sudanese. بس هم ما عارفين السوداني نفسه تكوينته كشخص المعقدة دي. They don't see that. بس still
والسوداني برضو
we do have that good image outside.
ما عارف روحه. السوداني برضو ما عارف روحه to some extent. I don't think we've been given the opportunity to like discover ourselves truly and be something beyond other people's perception of us. So مثلا في الخليج معروفين إحنا ناس طيبين وخدومين وبتاع وشنو هناي, and so we try so hard to embody that we like repress other parts of ourselves, and also don't allow other people to live how they want to live because we're busy trying to لا حيقولوا علينا شنو, and so we're all like representatives of البلد, and anybody who does anything automatically reflects on the entirety of the Sudanese population. فنحن يعني مشوارنا طويل لسه. مشوارنا طويل لسه.
محتاجين كمية ثورات يا أخي, دي حاجة طبعا.
ثورات صغيرة
ميني ريفولوشنز كده.
شخصية, أيوة شخصية فردية كده.
نفس ذاك الريفولوشن بتاعتك في باكج كده. دي خاصة لسار.
معاكم قليسة عردي وحاجات.
رمضان جاي كمان. رمضان جاي. بثورة وبأكل وشراب.
بهنا يحلمور كده شوية.
يا سلام.
يرويك.
well Sarah, يعني this has been super interesting التوكس معك, ما هتخلص طبعا يعني, بس I do love, I wish I could see you more يعني on podcasts, you know, يعني you're back on with the other Sarah, you know, you guys talking.
Yeah.
I've listened to a couple of episodes and it's nice, you know, to hear that. But today was an opportunity to have you on a podcast again on similar platform, more or less.
I appreciate you for that, بجد يعني, and I love being on I love podcasting, and it's been a while since I've done it, and like you're very good. Let me just say that now that we're at the end and I made it through, you are very good. I really enjoy the way that you ask questions and guide conversation is like really top notch to me. But I'm really honored to be here صراحة بجد يعني داني بقول.
والله يا سارة, the pleasure is absolutely mine يعني, برضو من غير أي مجاملة يعني. I don't know how to end this, but I hope you're having a great day إن شاء الله يعني في أريزونا, في Texas.
Thanks, you too.
all the way in the US. أي زول بيسمع لأول مرة, this is Hassan Talks podcast. حلقة 32 تقريبا. We've done this series which is Sudanese creators, بنحاول نشوف كل Sudanese talents سواء جوا السودان وبرا السودان, سواء individuals ولا organizations who do an exceptional work, very different, very unique, and they contribute to the society, to the community. طبعا بالأساس they contribute to their own selves يعني, بعدين الموضوع بيرفلكت بجهة أكبر. هذه كانت معنا سارة الحسن, BSONBLAST. يديك الف عافية يا سارة إن شاء الله.
الله يخليك, تسلم.
I'm waiting for the live session on Friday إن شاء الله.
Well, I hope you'll be there والله.
I will try to be on that يعني, بس as I told you يعني ما عايزين عروس, أمي بتزعل والموضوع ده.
تعال تفرج ساي, ما يلا تفرج ساي.
كويس, أنا بنكشف ما زي شريط العريس ساي داير دي. Give me that one. سوق خضار هو يا جماعة.
Thank you.
Yeah, and this is Hassan Talks podcast. Check the other episodes and stay tuned for the coming episode. Peace out.